Good morning, everybody. Apologies for being so late this morning, but complete technical issues with Facebook. Cannot go live from my laptop like I normally do. So I've had to improvise and go on my phone. So I'm hoping this is going to work. Otherwise, I'll record a video and I'll upload it for you all. So talking this morning about this week's blog, which is all about helping children and teens overcome their fears. Now, I'm not talking about phobias. I'm just talking about general fears that kids can come up against, and also senses of being overwhelmed at times, being anxious as well. So these tips will all help around that. And as I was saying, kids go through phases. And in the blog, at the very end, if you shoot to the very end, I do hit on a few common phases that kids can go through and teens can go through. And, I describe them, and then you can use the tips in and around that. If something is happening like those to your kids or teens. So go to www.DBpsychologyservices.com and you will find the blog, and you'll find those specific examples and where you might be able to help them. So 6 tips for this morning. So the first one is to offer comfort and reassurance. You're safe. I'm here. I love you. They need this. This is one of our basic needs as human beings, is to feel safe and needed, that we're loved. We need that. So they need that. So if they are feeling fearful, anxious, or overwhelmed, this is what they're going to need from you in the first place. The second thing is to talk to them. Now, when I say talk to them, I mean you listen, they talk. Okay, so you have to listen and let them talk. Don't dismiss any fears, anxieties, or worries. For the simple reason, what they're looking for here, and what you need to reinforce here, is validation. They need you to hear them and understand them. That's what we're looking for here. So we need to, make sure that they understand that you are listening to them, that you are hearing what they say. So as I said, you listen, they talk more. When we dismiss anything like that, when we dismiss a worry, a fear, or or an anxiety, if we poo-poo it in any sort of way, you're setting it up for becoming a bigger issue, for not validating them. And we don't want to go down that road with any child. If you've ever had that unfortunate experience as a child yourself, you'll understand perfectly what I'm talking about. Like, not feeling heard or validated is awful, even as as an adult. But then a child whose brain, or a teen whose brain isn't fully developed, they just do not have the life experience to cope with that. They do not have the brain capacity to cope with that. So definitely they need to be validated. Number 3 is to help them put their feelings into words. Something, again, that I don't care if they're teens, even an older teen. I've said this before, their brain is not fully developed. They still need help with this. So again, we need to think of, helping them to do that. It's going to need patience on your behalf. It's going to need a lot of time on your behalf. It's going to be more than one conversation. And it is good to be having those conversations and to help them prior to a feeling of anxiety coming up, prior to feeling overwhelmed, prior to fear coming up. We want to be doing that for them. We want to be helping them voice and talk and keep those lines of communication open with you all at all times. And remember not to put words in their mouth. That is very, very important. Don't push your opinions and your words into their mouth. Allow them to bring it up. Again, going back to them, you listen, they talk. Number 4 then is to help older children and teens deal and manage with their stress levels. This will help around those feelings of fear and overwhelm and anxiety. Kids can get very overloaded. They can overload themselves, particularly older teens. Coming up to important exams, they're going to start overloading themselves. They may also have sporting or other activities outside of school as well. Help them to get realistic about what they can actually fit in. They'll keep piling on the work. Can we actually do this? Can I break the project down? Do they know how to manage all of that. But in saying that, then you need to give them skills as well to manage stress. So again, we would model our own behavior there. But even doing something as simple as the 3 minute breather, I teach this to children and to young adults. I have broken it down into 30 seconds. 30 seconds, a little break, 30 seconds, a little break, and we build it up. And eventually, we have built it up with some of these kids where they do 3 minutes. For some of them, they never get to 3 minutes. They get to 1 minute with a 30-second break, 1 minute, a 30-second break, and 1 minute then. And they do their 3 minutes. They just remain silent with their eyes closed for the 30 seconds, and it works. So if you don't know that technique, the 3 minute breather, go learn it yourself and impart it to the kids. It is a really simple way of resetting the brain, and calming things down within the household. The other ways you can do that, of course, is to, yoga for kids. I recommend that in the blog this week. I also recommend reflexology. Somebody I know, I've recommended Carolyn Cunningham. Because I know her. I don't recommend people unless I actually know them. And I know she has worked with children before, so she is very good. But look for somebody who does reflexology and does, you know, that they work with kids and they're qualified, is what I'm saying. Let them do. Let the kids, you can let the kids work with those kind of people for reflexology. Yoga, Tai Chi is another one, of course. They also need time to veg out, goof off, just chat to their friends. We forget that. We're social creatures. We need that social interaction. And you see, we're talking to their friends in school all day. No, that's a different setting. It's, they're learning, their work, it's their work. You're in work maybe, and you're talking to your friends all day in work. But when you come home, you might want to talk to a different set of friends, or you might want to just talk about other things than work. They need that too, guys. So, think about that. They need time off. We all need that time off, just to goof off, just to relax. It doesn't have to be very long, but we do need it. The next thing I would say to you is, build their self-confidence. If they have any sort of fear, worry, overwhelm, anxiety, their self-confidence, of course, is going to take a knock. It's our job as parents to build that self-esteem and self-confidence. So I said it before, use areas that they're interested in. Sometimes that gives you the crack in the door to get in and open the lines of communication if they've started to shut down. It also helps them play to their strengths, because usually, if they have an interest in something, they would get what we call the flow. They get into the flow. You get into this area where in your head, in your brain waves change, and you do not realize that you're actually doing something. You're enjoying it that much. Time stands still almost. It's something that they really love to do and that gives them confidence. So keep doing that. Play always to a child's strengths. It's an unconscious way of building their self-confidence. Now, the key there, though, is because, we can be very unconscious about it, we don't realize that it's helping us, is to celebrate the wins. Celebrate all those wins, even very small wins. I'm very proud of you. Wow, done. Great job. Things like that. Make sure that they understand you have their back at all times. And use this as a way to boost up their self-confidence. If they do make any mistakes, always remember that a mistake is only a learning opportunity. Now, I'm not talking about bad behavior. There'll be consequences for bad behavior. But if somebody makes a mistake, it's a mistake. They apologize, and they learn from it. There are plenty, and unfortunately, there are plenty of people out there who grew up with the idea that every mistake was punished, and then they grew up with the sense of, a mistake means I'm a failure, and they have this underlying belief that I'm a failure as a result, because unfortunately every little tiny mistake was punished. Do not do that to your kids. Do not send them down that can be a very dark road, and can lead to all sorts of mental health issues. So please do not do that. Do not use mistakes or punish mistakes in that sense. Make sure they understand if they do have If it is a bad behavior or is something that warrants consequences, further consequences, that they understand why they're being punished, that they understand that they crossed a line, that they understand to sit them down and talk to them. And as I said before, getting kids involved in what we call a home contract is where they help set the contract for the house rules, the consequences for breaking house rules. And that includes, breaking consequences in school, breaking rules in school, breaking rules in other people's houses. That would all be incorporated. But particularly once they get around 8 plus, they should be involved in making that contract with you. And get the idea, of setting up, yeah, if I do make a mistake, if I do cross a boundary, there can be consequence. There may be consequences. But they have to be seen too as being learning opportunities. That is what a mistake is. It's a learning opportunity. Number 6 then would be help them to face their fear slowly. Again, never punish them for not facing a fear. Kids learn at different paces, so we have to modify learning for them. We really do. Everybody's different, and they need to hear even the smallest achievement. Again, they need to be hearing, well done, great job. Do not think you are building up a big head there with kids. You're not. Life is the way it is, and it will knock the corners off them. So don't think about, I have to keep their feet on the ground. No, your job as parents is to back these kids up as much as possible, keep their self-esteem boosted, and to always celebrate the small wins. If you notice that they're having trouble doing something, then, as I said, don't punish them for not facing up to those fears. They need understanding. They need you to encourage them. So, I understand it's scary. Well done, you did your best. Words like that, because what will happen is, if you are punishing their fear of not trying something, then you're going to make it a bigger issue than it actually is. It'll take them longer to overcome that. And what we don't want is for them to end up with a phobia around something. So I do mention phobias, but I'm not talking about phobias this week. I do mention the fact that phobias, do need professional treatment, but they are very quickly treated once they are treated. So, do check that out. And just to finally finish up, if you're having issues around this, if you're having issues around negative thinking and that, we need to be very mindful of how we model the behavior, how we talk to ourselves, how we validate ourselves. And this is something I'm working on at the moment with my own bunch of mums in my free group. So I will leave a link in the description below as to how you can join that group. So if you're our mum, there is a free group up there, to help you also deal with your own anxiety, your own stress levels. And I know a lot of people are having issues, particularly this week, because the kids have been back at school. So if that you need extra support, there's a free group there. Less Stress, More Success for Mums. Come and join us. We've plenty of modules. I have 8 modules up there at the moment that you can work through in your own pace and still have the backing of me on a day-to-day basis. If you need a question, you want a question, I'm here. You can private. I even give the mums an option to private message me if they need to talk. So it's all free. All that service is available to you if you need it at the moment. So good morning to Deirdre. As I said, I'm very sorry I was late this morning, but technical difficulties, and I know an awful lot of people are complaining about technical problems with the new upgrades on Facebook. It's a simple fact: if humans don't learn how to express their feelings as a child, it's not a given they would be able to express their feelings as adults. Yes, absolutely, Deirdre, spot on, absolutely. And an awful lot of adults, we can't express our feelings. We don't understand that, how it's all tied in. We don't understand that, our feelings, our emotions, our physiological responses, our thinking patterns, and our behaviors are all interconnected. It's not even a cyclical model, as in it's not a cycle. It is all over the place. It's what we call the hot cross bun model. And I do go into that in more detail again in my mum's group. I've explained all that to them and how that actually works, how it all works. But yes, you're spot on, Deirdre. And as always, thank you very much for watching. So I'll leave it there for this week. And hopefully we won't have technical difficulties next Saturday morning. I'll see you all then, and the blog on Monday is about relationships. So I'll see you then.